Dillian White pops dirty before the Oscar Rivas fight, and Eddie Hearn and UCAD try to cover this one up. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Remstar Says So. So let's get right into this one, guys. It's a touchy subject. Well, it's not a touchy subject. I want to talk about it. Dillian White has failed a drugs test, and this is the worst thing that could possibly have happened. Eddie Hearn and UCAD, the British Boxing Board of Control, had the decision to go ahead with the fight because of the British Boxing Board of Control and UCAD's drug testing laws, which basically means that you are innocent until proven guilty. Dillian White popped dirty on an A sample before the fight. I think it was 2 or 3 days prior, and they allowed him to get in the ring with Oscar Rivas anyway. What makes this even worse, guys, is that Dillian White's team, Eddie Hearn and UCAD, did not notify Oscar Rivas's team on the failed drugs test. So what that meant is that one guy was allowed to get into the ring, juiced to the nines, and another guy should probably was clean entering that ring. Now, Dillian White is somebody who's already been done before for popping dirty. I think it was back in 2012 where he claims he took a supplement. I think it was an energy drink or protein shake or something that had something on the bans list. And since then, he has gone on a tirade of sort of sending for anybody who, has ever popped dirty since. He went on a mission against Jarrell Big Baby Miller. He's called out the likes of Pulev. He's called out Luis Ortiz. And now he's gone and popped dirty. Dillian White also went on to make a little statement recently via his Twitter account stating that it's all rubbish. Everything will soon be revealed, but he's not allowed to talk to it because of he's not allowed to talk about it because of legal reasons. Now, if you believe that, that's absolute fucking bollocks. What Dillian White is doing is sitting down, hoping and praying that the B sample comes back clean. Now, if you listen to Dillian White over the last 6 to 12 months, he's been having a go at AJ for a long time, saying that AJ's got TUEs, which I think he probably does. But anyway, this is a video about Dillian White, not apple juice. And what Dillian White has been talking about is cycling, and he's saying that if AJ was ever gonna go abroad, he'd have to cycle on and cycle off to get the drugs out of his system. And I think that's probably what Dillian White's been doing as well. Dillian White probably cycles on and cycles off of fights. So let's say, for example, if you take a concentrated amount of something and you know that it comes out of your system, usually within 3 months, it'd probably be good to go ahead and do that. The only thing is that I thought Dillian White was signed up to the WBC's clean boxing program, but evidently not, or I don't know why, because clearly the WBC and UCAD should have been doing that drugs testing, but it was done by it was done by some British drugs testing company. I don't know, or does the clean boxing program sort of sublet out their drugs testing to people abroad in different countries? I don't know, but what I do know is that he's failed an A sample. We've yet to hear what's coming back on the B sample, but he's failed a test. Team Rivas are absolutely livid because they said they didn't know and they weren't told and they should have known. I think that this sort of thing, it just needs to stop in boxing. I think if you get done for steroids twice as well, it should be a ban for life, guys. When you look at other sports such as like athletics, track and field, all that kind of shit, yeah, people get banned for like 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and they're not harming anybody. An example is if you're a 100-meter sprinter, yeah, and you take steroids, the only harm you're doing is that you've just won a race. But we're talking about heavyweight boxing, the worst division for anybody to be juicing. Guys that are weighing 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 stones sometimes. And for a guy to be at that weight and then get extra sort of power behind his shots, for an unfair advantage inducing that. It's ridiculous. Gillian White has been a huge advocate for people getting banned, and I think it's time that he just puts his hands up and takes the ban himself. Realistically, he's not anybody. He's not beating AJ. He's not beating Wilder. He's not beating Fury. I don't think he beat Luis Ortiz. I'm not even sure if he could beat Povetkin or Pulev. So I don't really see what the rush is. For me, I think when the second set of results come out, we need to act on this. But I think ideally, I don't think that it should be a two set of judging rules. So let's say, for example, if he has been cycling to get these steroids out, he might have failed test A and passes test B. That still doesn't ignore the fact that he had steroids in his system. So I think once you get caught, I think the book should just get thrown at you. Eddie Hearn is really trying to cover this one up, but for me, I think Dillian White needs at least a 2 year ban. He can fuck off and go and do something else. I don't think that he's good for the sport. He done a recent interview with Umar from IFL TV. No, he didn't. His brother did, and his brother didn't want to talk about anything. And they all look guilty as pie. Go and have a look at that video on IFL. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Do you think that that fight should have gone ahead? Me personally, I think as soon as he failed the drugs test, the fight should have been called off. But you know what's happening? Dillian White has worked himself into a pay-per-view star. He's obviously generating a couple of quid here and there, and obviously the British Boxing Board of Control wanted their money. UCAD wanted their money, all of that. So it's been a bit of a cover-up. But I think that the WBC, as they've already stated, they knew nothing about this. They should take action. Dillian White should be stripped of his mandatory status. That fight should be turned over to a no contest or a disqualification win for Oscar Rivas. And I don't want to see Dillian White in a boxing ring again. He's a fucking hypocrite. Anyway, guys, hit like, hit subscribe, leave me a comment, share this video. My rant is over. That's the end of the show because Remstar says so.